For 2 decades, the Florida Gators have meandered around being relevant but not producing a product good enough for their fans. Well, guess what? With DJ Lagway and the head coaching direction with Billy Napier, this team is going to be as relevant as ever and shock the heck out of a number of people next year. They are veteran-laden and have one of the more talented rooms of all rooms: quarterback, defensive line, a wide receiver core. They are loaded in the secondary. They have a great roster. It's just a matter of putting it out on the field and performing within what is the hardest schedule in college football next year. So what will Florida be in 2025? I have them ranked as the 15th team in the country with everything considered and that crazy schedule that they have to compete against. Holy cow, are they going to be in some big games? And let's get into it. Week 1, Long Island at home. They beat them 51-12 there in the Swamp. It's going to take a couple games in the season. It's not going to be until week 6 till we get to see the Swamp on fire. And it will be. We know what matchup that is. Just wait. We're going to get to that in a second. South Florida, 42-13. It's nice that there's some of these teams that are there in Florida that you can just kind of beat up on and get a couple of wins and know that you're going to have yourself in a 2-0 spot to beat, or at least compete to try to beat, the LSU Tigers in week 3. I've got LSU ranked as the number 9 team in college football next year with Garrett Nussmeier and a very talented defense. Now, back to Florida for a second. Tyreak Sapp is likely a second-round pick. Of course, the son of Hall of Famer Warren Sapp. And what he's doing now with the Colorado Buffaloes on their defensive line, tremendous job. All about the kids. A big fan. Caleb Banks could be a first-round pick, no doubter, when we get to the 2026 NFL draft discussion. But what is it on the offensive side? Well, they brought in transfer Michael Sturdivant from the UCLA Bruins. It just wasn't working out there. We had, of course, Nico Iamaleava transferred there. But even so, what is UCLA going to be? Are they going to be over 500 next year? Not sure. But going to Florida, getting yourself in the national spotlight sure is an opportunity to be able to raise your draft stock for him. There was Ethan Garbers. There was the poor play of Dante Moore there at UCLA, and he decides to leave and better his stock elsewhere. Now, also, there's Jake Slaughter, who could be the best center in college football. I put him up with Parker Brailsford as far as two of the better guys. Hayden Hanson, the tight end, DJ Lagway's guy to go to a lot. And then it looks like Jacoby Jackson and Jadan Baugh will be toting that rock a whole bunch of times, along with, of course, Lagway's legs. Now, all of this sets up, giving you a bit of the picture. Not that if you're a Florida fan, you need to be told about players you already know about, but against LSU, you're going to have to lean on your tight end. You're going to have to lean on your players running the football so that Lagway doesn't have to carry that thing 21 times. Can Baugh get loose once so that Lagway doesn't have to meticulously drive yourself down the field when you're facing Harold Perkins, who's back for LSU, Whit Weeks in a very up-and-coming, an LSU defense that feels confident. And, of course, on the other side of the ball, they've got Heisman favorite to win the whole thing, and Garrett Nussmeier. This guy is locked in. Nick Anderson, a wide receiver that could go for 1,000 yards for LSU next year. They got to stop the run and force Garrett to get into that system. Can you find a way to make Garrett get outside the pocket? Get him outside the pocket so that he's not just sitting in there finding his wide receivers. Get him off his spot. Get him uncomfortable. Ultimately have them losing at Death Valley 31-20, dropping to 2-1 on the year. The next week, they are at Miami. They're at Hard Rock Stadium against Carson Beck and company. Have them winning 30-21. Now, I have Miami ranked 13th in the country. Have to understand their schedule is something out of rated 17. Do we want to call it rated R? Whatever you want to say. Adults only. That Florida schedule is crazy. As mentioned, you play at LSU and then at Miami in the first couple of weeks of the year before week 5. You get the bye, and then it's Texas and Texas A&M just to get a little helping of what that schedule is. I know I'd bring up that they're playing Texas right after the bye. But Miami feel like they'll be able to shut them down. That's a squad, of course, under Mario Cristobal that has a lot of their fans frustrated the way last year ended, having a perfect shot with Cam Ward to get in the college football playoff. Just beat Syracuse and you're in that thing at 11-1. Well, they lose, drop to 10-2, and a 10-2 as ACC just might not be cutting it this year for them, but I do have them beating Miami, improving to 3-1 on the season before the bye, where they host Texas. I think they beat Texas. Why do they beat Texas? Maybe it's not a quarterback advantage with Lagway over March Manning, but the game's at home. This is Gainesville, baby. This is the swamp. This is the swamp on fire. This is lighting a darn Molotov, chucking that thing into oil as a river, and that place is going absolutely wild. When have we had the swamp on fire? When they beat Tennessee a couple of years ago in that matchup, that place was going absolutely crazy. Tennessee was expected to win, and they lost. That was 2 years ago. Remember that vividly. When this swamp brings it, they are going to bring it. The voices will be gone. Some of them by halftime, 29-26. Florida jumps the Longhorns and gets a huge win. But there's the hangover. The next week you're at A&M, having to get fired up once again. You could see a little bit of a letdown. Even if you're a Florida fan, you can kind of get what I'm saying here. After you're 4-1, you beat Texas, you beat Arch Manning, you're dropping out of the number one team in the country, which I have them ranked, which a lot of people have them ranked. And then you're playing Marcel Reed and A&M, and then you drop back down. You get a loss to the Aggies, which would put them at 4-2 on the season. A very tough one, of course, because Mississippi State is lurking there, a nice win, and then you get the bye. So a 4-2 Florida team, then Mississippi State puts them at 5-2. The start of the year, yeah, you'll take it. You beat Texas, and you beat Miami on the year. It's just like this schedule doesn't give anyone any breaks. It is horrible. Then they play Georgia in Jacksonville, the world's largest cocktail party. Let's get it on, baby. But they lose that 5-3 against Garner Stockton. I understand that the schedule is the toughest thing. You have to play what you play. But understand this Florida team is going to be tough. They are going to come up with some big wins next year and push some teams to the absolute brink. Have them losing 20-30. Zachariah Branch is just different, man. That guy moves at a level of speed that they're really just isn't all that often on our planet. He chases after it. You know who also chases after it? I think they do some hunting of lions in Kenya. I'm going to be in Kenya and Tanzania out there for the Great Migration. So if I'm coming up with anything that you're like, what is going on? It's because I recorded this video a couple weeks before the watching of you watching this video. You know, I'm going to be out there. Obviously, it would be tough to record and film content in Africa to consistently get that posted, so I did schedule posts. So if I'm mentioning players or circumstances that would be changed because of stuff that happens the next few weeks after I recorded, I apologize. That's just how it had to go so I could build momentum going into the season. And then they're sitting at 3 losses on the year, still at that point after that loss to Georgia. They're 5-3 at Kentucky. Tough matchup. We know what Kentucky did to Ole Miss a year ago. Deion Walker just not letting anybody get a single yard. And then Maxwell Hairston running with Trey Harris. A win against them, 31-16. They take care of business. And speaking of Ole Miss, at Ole Miss, they get a huge win on the road, 30-22, just locking up Lane Kiffin style, Austin Simmons. They've got like that one read system to get the ball out on the perimeter, or it's like that one read pump, and they've got like a dig coming underneath, or they're taking their shot downfield. It's like very tough to defend if you've got athletic enough players, and my gosh, does Florida have those athletes in the back end with Bryce Thornton and Dijon Johnston, Sharif Denson. Like, they have these guys that can run with anybody in college football. It's just a matter of, like, there's a number of talented players they will be facing. After that Ole Miss game, they'd be 7-3, right on the cusp of the playoff. But you've got Tennessee still to play. I know Ormond Lott's gone. I understand there's no James Pierce Jr., but they still do have Jermod McCoy, who might be the best cornerback in college football. Tennessee doesn't have that receiving core of McCoy and Thornton. They had Jalen Hyatt and Cedric Tillman for years. They had Squirrel White, who transferred out of there. Like, the Tennessee offense won't be the same that they had with Dylan Sampson, just the best back in the SEC a year ago after Quinshon Judkins transferred. But a loss to Tennessee, who I ranked as the 25th team. A little bit of that sizzle loss from the swamp after after a couple losses already there with the schedule. And I have them losing to Florida State also at the end of the year, 21-18 to Mike Norvell and company, them finishing 7-5. It's going to be a point in this year where you're like, holy cow, Florida is back. And they might have you scratch your head. Of course, they ended Ole Miss's season last year, put crazy momentum towards the start of next year. Who is more fired up for Florida football than me, honestly? It's going to be crazy. I'm going to be tuning in every time they've got one of these big matchups, and they've got like 9 of them that they're playing. But 7-5, please let me know in the comments if you agree with my sentiments on Florida being a great team, just playing a ridiculous schedule. And of course, in matchup games, anything can happen. Or if you're like, disagree, like Florida's going to be better, just let me know in the comments so we can have a discussion down there. And please subscribe for more content and join the Blitz with Blender community. Would love to be engaging with you guys more often and spreading the passion and joy for not just college, but NFL football is coming up too. You can see the Bears stuff behind me. But yeah, please subscribe for more content in the future and have a great rest of your day. I will see you next time. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Best player in college football. That Georgia and Ohio State game, New Year's Eve, is going to be a classic.
Josh Blender, hi everybody, I'm Josh Blender. To the 40, 35, 30, Espinosa to the 20.